Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we got another news and rumor video to discuss. We'll get some signs from the past couple of days, some injury updates, some waiver updates, plus we got a couple of trade rumors involving the Red Wings, the New York Rangers, the Vancouver Canucks, and the Columbus Blue Jackets. And we'll do all that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Internet Hockey channel. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe below. Thank you all your support when you're into it with you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below and don't forget to comment down in the comment section below so something else goes in this video. So in today's video, we'll start off with a couple of signings from our past couple of days. One single signing to talk about from our past few days, and it was a low end one. The Carolina Hurricanes have signed Dustin Tokarski, who was playing over in the AHL, to a 1-year two-way deal with a fee of $775,000 for the rest of this year. Now we know that the Carolina Hurricanes are dealing with some goalie injuries right now. Kucherov, Anderson, they're both out with injuries right now. Kucherov should be back in the not distant future, but with that in mind, they didn't really have a whole bunch of goaltending depth with Spencer Martin and Yannick Peretz as their tandem in the NHL. So with that in mind, they need to sign some sort of an AHL player to be sort of a fifth stringer for a time being, with the guys like Anderson and Kucherov out, and Tokarski can be that. Tokarski's had NHL experience in the past. He played most recently in the 22-23 season for the Pittsburgh Penguins, picking up a 3.44 GAA and 897 save percentage in 4 games. The year before that, he actually had a pretty solid season with the Buffalo Sabres. That was before the Sabres had solid goaltending, so Tokarski can be a serviceable third, fourth stringer. This year, so far, he's played in 5 AHL games with the Chicago Wolves, Carolina's AHL affiliate, putting up a 933 save percentage and 1.61 GAA. Now, the team has Spencer Martin as their third stringer, so he'll probably battle with Peretz to be the fourth stringer for the Carolina Hurricanes, so not too surprised. This is a decent sign there for the Hurricanes. Solid depth goaltender, can be a fourth, fifth stringer for the Carolina Hurricanes, and provides them with a little more depth in the goaltending position, with them having Anderson and Kucherov out to injuries. So it's the only thing we've seen from the past couple of days, but it's an interesting one, as the Carolina Hurricanes have added some goaltending depth by signing Dustin Tokarski to a 1-year deal to remain with the Hurricanes for the rest of this year. So an interesting note there, but Carolina does sign Tokarski to a 1-year league minimum deal to be their fourth, fifth stringer. Next, going over to a couple of injury updates from our past couple of days, we have had some injury updates from our past as well. So we'll start with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Bobby McMann was placed on injury reserve with upper body injury, is day-to-day, and missed Saturday's game, so it's a babble there for the Maple Leafs as they lost Bobby McMann due to injury. But Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes were both activated off of injury reserve and both returned to Saturday's game action. Nyes after he missed a few games with upper body injury, while Matthews after he missed 9 games with upper body injury. So both are out due to upper body injuries, and they're both back for the team. So that's fantastic news there for the Leafs to get Matthews and Nyes back. While Yanni Hakanpää was placed in injury reserve with a lower body injury. So that's a babble there for the Leafs to lose Hakanpää for a foreseeable future. For the New York Rangers, Kreider and Filipino both returned from the upper body injuries on Saturday and got back into game action. Hilo, I think, missed 5 or 6 games. Kreider missed 2 or 3. So good to see both those guys get back. That's a big boost there for the Rangers, as Hilo's a solid second, third line center, and Kreider is their top line winger. So really good to see those guys get back for the Rangers. New Jersey's Tomas Tatar missed Saturday's game with a lower body injury in his day-to-day, so hopefully he'll be able to get back in not just in future, but that's a babble there for the Devils to lose Tatar. Seattle's Vince Dunn was activated off of long-term injury reserve on Saturday and returned to game action after missing 6 weeks with upper body injuries, so he was out for a little bit longer than expected, but good to see Dunn back for the Seattle Kraken, so good news there. Tampa Bay's Nikita Kucherov missed Saturday's game and is out day-to-day with the undisclosed injury, so it's a horrible blow there for the Bolts, as Kucherov is currently out with an injury, so hopefully he'll be back in not just in future, but to see their point leading player be out is awful news there for Tampa. For the Islanders, Jean-Gabriel Pageau missed Saturday's game and is out day-to-day with undisclosed injury, so it's a horrible blow there for the Islanders to lose their third line center, while Semyon Varlamov is also out day-to-day right now with a lower body injury, and he may miss time, so bad stuff there for the Islanders to lose their backup goaltender and third line center. For the Detroit Red Wings, Alex Lyon did not accompany the Detroit Red Wings on the current road trip and will miss at least the next 2 games for them with a lower body injury, so it's a horrible blow there for the Red Wings. While Patrick Kane missed his 4th straight game on Sunday with upper body injury, so it's a horrible blow there for the Red Wings, as Kane remains out for the foreseeable future, so hopefully he'll be back in not just in future. Colorado had a slew of injury updates. Oliver Shillington is out day-to-day with undisclosed injury, so he's going to miss the next game or 2 there, at least for the Avalanche. Josh Manson is out week to week with upper body injury, so that's a horrible blow there for the Avalanche to lose the top 4 defensemen. Miles Wood was placed on injury reserve and is out month to month right now with upper body injury, so one of their top 9 forwards is going to be out for a long period of time. Ross Colton, though, even though he was placed on long-term injury reserve, moved there from IR, was traveling with the team and could return in the not too distant future for the Colorado Avalanche, so that could be a really good boost there. But Wood, Manson, and Shillington out for the foreseeable future. Detroit's Cam Cam Talbot left Sunday's game with a lower body injury and is going to be out for the next little while, so that's a horrible blow there for the Red Wings. Nikolai Ehlers missed Sunday's game with a lower body injury in his day-to-day, so that's a horrible blow there for the Jets. Hopefully Ehlers will return out in future, but that's a bad blow there. Calgary placed Justin Kirkland on injury reserve with a lower body injury, so he's going to miss the next little while with an injury, so hopefully he's not going to be out for an overly long period of time. Tyler Seguin was placed on injury reserve with a lower body injury, so hopefully he will be out for an overly long period of time. Sam Ersson was practicing on Monday and may be able to return in the not too distant future from his lower body injury, so that could be a really big boost there for Philadelphia to get their starting goaltender back. Vegas' Mark Stone was skating in a non-contact jersey and may be returning soon from his lower body injury, so that could be a really big boost for Vegas to get their captain back. Well, Connor Ingram is not close to returning and will probably miss at least another couple weeks for Utah with upper body injuries, so that's a horrible blow there for Utah. But those are the injuries from our past couple of days. Good to see guys like Colton be back, hopefully not just in the future, as well as Mathews, Kreider, and Dunn. So good to see all those guys get back, but bad news to see guys like Kucherov, Kane, Seguin, and Ehlers all be out for the next little while. And hopefully those guys are not going to be out for an overly long period of time. They're back, not just in the future. But some interesting injury updates from our past couple of days. Going over to a couple of quick waiver updates, not too much to talk about here. When we last did our trade rumor video, we saw that Josh Labate was placed on waivers by Columbus Blue Jackets. As I thought, he did clear. He was more of an AHLer. He was just another depth body that the Jackets wanted to sign. So he was sent back down to the AHL after clearing waivers, not too surprised there. Then after activating him on long-term injury reserve, the Montreal Canadiens placed Raphael Harvey-Pinard on waivers. Now, I could have seen a couple of teams potentially claim him. He's a solid bomb 6 forward who's been a really good player. He's only on a 1-year deal, I think, at $1 million. So I thought a couple of teams who needed some bomb 6 help could have used a solid bomb 6 player like a Raphael Harvey-Pinard. But with him coming off of long-term injury reserve and the fact that he hasn't played at all this year, I thought there was also potentiality that the Canadiens could maybe sneaking down on waivers, and that's exactly what happened. Sunday came around and he did indeed clear, so not too surprised there as the Canadiens did wind up having Harvey-Pinard clear waivers. And then we saw 2 players we placed on waivers on Monday, and that was Dustin Tokarski, who we just talked about, was signed by Carolina Hurricanes, as well as Daniel Chayka, who was a prospect for Vegas Golden Knights, placed on unconditional waivers for purpose of contract termination. Now, for players who are placed on unconditional waivers, you don't usually see them be claimed. That happened here with Chayka. He wound up clearing unconditional waivers, so his contract was terminated, and the former, I think, 3rd round pick from the Vegas Golden Knights is now an unrestricted free agent, so he could sign overseas. He could sign somewhere in the AHL. We'll have to wait and see on that, but Chayka has been let go by the Vegas Golden Knights after they placed him on unconditional waivers and his contract was terminated. While Tokarski, like we say, he's more of a 4th, 5th string goaltender. I wasn't expecting many teams to have some interest in an AHL level goaltender like Tokarski, and Tokarski did wind up clearing and was sent down to the AHL affiliates for the Hurricanes. So I'm not too surprised there. Tokarski, like I said, he's a decent player. He's not an overly bad player, but I think that he's mostly a 3rd, 4th stringer, and that most teams don't really need him at the NHL level right now. So Tokarski clears waivers and he's sent down to the AHL. Also, a lot of teams had the opportunity to sign him. So Tokarski clears waivers, as is Raphael Harvey-Pinard, as is Josh Labate, and all of them clear waivers and are sent down to the AHL affiliates. So good news there, as those teams are able to keep those players. But bad news to see a guy like Daniel Chayka have his contract terminated, and hopefully he'll be able to sign elsewhere for the time being. So I have to wait and see on that. And lastly, going over to a couple of trade rumors. So to start off today's trade rumor portion of the video, we're going to start off with the New York Rangers. Now, there's been some more speculation around the Rangers over the past little while. The first thing I want to talk about with the Rangers is that back over on Saturday, we saw New York Rangers place Reilly Smith as a healthy scratch. That was a surprising move. We know Kreider and Hedl were coming into the lineup, so they needed to take a couple of players out. But to see Reilly Smith be a healthy scratch was quite surprising. Now, if the Rangers were looking to make some major changes, Smith could be an interesting option there for the Rangers to try and make some sort of a move. We know that Smith is entering the final year of his contract. He's got a $3.75 million AAV deal. He could be a really good addition for a lot of teams in the middle 6. They're looking to go to the playoffs this year, and the Rangers could probably get like a 2nd round pick and a really good prospect in return, or maybe try and swap him for maybe like another pending UFA forward. It'll be interesting to see. Now, no guarantees that they do move Reilly Smith. Rangers still in the playoff spot, but if the Rangers were trying to shake up some things and make some moves heading towards the trade deadline, Smith might be a player to watch out for, given the fact he's a pending UFA, and he might be able to bring the Rangers a really good return. On top of that, I've seen growing speculation that the Rangers may have to make a move in the not too distant future. The Rangers are so far 6-7 in their their last 7 games, and they're 5-6, I think, since the Rangers announced that they had made Kreider and Trouba available. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens, but I've seen a lot of speculation from the past little while saying that there's going to be a move coming in the not distant future. There has to be, with the way the Rangers are playing right now. They're, I think, tied with the Flyers for points for the last playoff spots in the Eastern Conference, and they're at risk of getting passed by teams like Buffalo, Ottawa, Columbus, Tampa. So there's a very likely chance that the Rangers are in really hot water right now, and if things don't change in the next maybe 4 or 5 games before the roster freeze in December, I think there's a very likely chance that we could see the Rangers make some massive moves in the not distant future. So we're going to have to wait and see on that, but I've heard some people say there's a very likely chance to see the Rangers move in the not distant future. It could even be imminent, and I've seen Reilly Smith be a name who could be a potential option there for the Rangers to trade after they healthily scratched him on Saturday, so we're going to have to wait and see on that. Going over to the Detroit Red Wings, the fourthperiod.com was talking about the Red Wings recently and said that Yzerman is likely to make some moves. The Red Wings are in a pretty bad spot right now. They are 3rd last in the Eastern Conference, only ahead of the stumbling Ottawa Senators and the still rebuilding Montreal Canadiens. They're not doing overly well so far this year. They're still under 500. They've not had an overly great start to the year, so if they can make some moves, that could really help that Red Wings team. Now, what sort of moves could they make? I think there's a possibility they could try and add some pieces. This article here that I've seen from the fourthperiod.com links guys like a second-line center or a top 6 scoring forward as potential options there for the Red Wings to try and target to try and improve that on that team. Plus, there's also an option out there they could try and add a blue liner. So we'll have to wait and see. The Red Wings blue line isn't an overly great blue line. Their goaltending hasn't been overly great, and it could definitely use some more forward help. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with the Red Wings, but Yzerman's plan has not gone overly well. This team has still not made the playoffs since he's been GM, and you gotta think moves are coming for the Red Wings, given how poorly they've been over the past little while. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that, but expect the Red Wings to be in the market for a top 6 center, expect the Red Wings to be in the market for a top 6 goal-scoring winger to improve the blue line, and they have $7.7 million in cap space and some draft picks to work with, so they could make some moves, but the Red Wings are also in a bad spot right now in the standings, and if things don't turn around in the not too distant future, expect the Red Wings to potentially maybe sell off some pieces too. I think there's a possibility they could try and move off a guy like maybe Andrew Kopp, maybe Comfer, maybe Petrie, maybe Sherratt. We'll have to wait and see on that, but expect the Red Wings to make some moves, not just the future with how poorly a start they've had to the season. Going over to the Canucks and the Boston Bruins, when it comes to those two teams, Noah Strang of the Daily Hive was recently discussing this and saying that the Canucks and Bruins may have had some recent talks regarding Nikita Zadorov. Now, he says that Rick Dollywell's recently said the Bruins and Canucks have had trade talks, and he thinks it could be around a guy like Nikita Zadorov. Now, Zadorov was a member of the Vancouver Canucks last year after they acquired him from the Calgary Flames early in the year. He was a really good fit there for the Canucks, but he just was too expensive to resign. So he signed a new extension in the Boston Bruins organization. Now, he hasn't had a bad start to the year for the Bruins, but I don't think he's been working out to the best of the Bruins' expectations yet. So with the Bruins not having an overly great start to the season, they're only, I think, 2 or 3 games above 500 right now, and still in the thick of a really tight race with teams like Tampa, Buffalo, and Detroit for a wildcard spot or top 3 spot in the Atlantic. Then maybe if they reach the trade deadline and they're not looking overly good and they want to move off some pieces, maybe Zadorov could be dealt back to Vancouver. Now, Zadorov, I think, has this year plus 5 more seasons left at a $5 million cap hit, so it's not going to be cheap, but I think Zadorov could make that Canucks blue line a really good blue line. Now, would the Canucks want to reacquire Zadorov? That's interesting. It's a possibility. We know they're looking for some defensive help. Will the Bruins want to move Zadorov this early into his contract? That's another interesting thing that we'd have to wait and see for, but interesting note there that it sounds like the Canucks and Bruins are having trade talks. There's a very likely chance we could see him hook up on a deal, and according to Noah Strang, he wonders if maybe Zadorov is the guy that the Bruins and Canucks could be having trade talks around. So we're going to have to wait and see on that, but with the way Zadorov had a really good stretch, especially in the playoffs last year, I could see a Canucks have some major interest in trying to bring him back, so we're going to have to wait and see on that. And lastly, just a really quick update here on Mathieu Olivier. He's been making his rounds on some trade bait lists as a potential trade candidate for the Blue Jackets, but after a solid start to the year, already surpassing his career high in his goal totals, there's been some people who think that maybe Don Waddell, who's the GM in Columbus, doesn't want to move on from him, and maybe they want to try and sign him. I think I saw an article saying that they should sign to like a 3 or $10.5 million AAV deal, which would basically give him a $3.5 million AAV deal. I think it'll be a little bit much for Olivier, who's currently making $1.1 million, but if they could come to terms like an extension that gets him like $2.5 million on a multi-year deal that could keep him as like a solid bottom 6 forward in Columbus's organization, I think it'd be a really good pickup there for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that, but I've seen some recent reports saying that even though Olivier has made his rounds on trade bait lists and could be a really good pickup there for a lot off teams in the trade market that maybe the Jackets don't really want to move him, and maybe an extension is the more likely option we see for the Jackets. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. But an Olivier extension, if it's somewhere around $2.5 million, I think can make a lot of sense for Jackets. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. But that's what I'm talking about in this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this down in the comment section below. What's your opinion on all this stuff that we discussed here today? Do the Jackets, are they more likely to move Olivier, or is it more likely that they keep him? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Vancouver. Could the Canucks and Bruins hook up on a deal surrounding Nikita Zadorov? And if so, what would the Bruins want to return, and would there be some money retention involved? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Do the Red Wings make a move in the not distant future? Could they try and acquire someone? Could they acquire a top 6 scoring winger, a second line center, some blue line help? Where do you think the Red Wings need the most help? Or do you think there's a likely chance they could maybe move a player? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Plus, do you think the Rangers make a move in the not distant future if they lose a couple more games? And could a guy like Reilly Smith be a name who they could try and move? Definitely have to get your thoughts on that. Plus the signings, waiver updates, and injury updates from the past couple days. That's all I'm talking for today. If you like this video, if you like to subscribe down below. Thank you all your support when you're with you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment down in the comment section below. So it's going to discuss today's video. Also a blog, tournament news, rumors, analysis. If that's going to check that out, I'll link to the description below. And I can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.